The Celtic Forever podcast is a zero advert and zero profit channel. The channel also includes Celtic highlights and player interviews, so join the uninterrupted fun and subscribe to the channel. Thank you very much.
Welcome to the Celtic Forever podcast. We're just at the end of this international break. We've got John here to go over everything Celtic, and by the way, that's not much at all just now, but we'll go through the scraps as they are. Let's say hello to John. How are you, John?
Hi, I'm all right.
You'll be happy this international break is finally over. Well, it is for Scotland anyway. I know there's a few games later on tonight, but it's more or less over, John. Everybody seems okay fitness-wise as well, so that's good news as well. But we can do a normal predictor, John, for the competition, the league table on your left-hand side there. We can get the guesses in for the Dundee game, and it's good to just be talking about things like that again, John. Celtic versus Dundee, all your international stuff is over. And for a month, John, because we're back in November for another international break, believe it or not. We'll touch on the international stuff a wee bit later, but it's just good to be talking about, all your local stuff, Sean, all your normal football. I like to call it normal football. Celtic versus Dundee at the weekend. I don't know about you, John. I do like to see Scotland doing well, but the international break just drives me crazy.
I have watched the Scotland games right enough. I've watched the Scotland games in the international break. Scotland are terrible yesterday, absolutely terrible. I mean, to struggle with that at Hampden against Belarus, unbelievable. I just couldn't believe what I was watching.
Yeah, and I didn't watch any of the Scotland fixtures, John. I didn't watch any of it. I just listened to wee bits and bobs for 2 or 3 minutes here and there. So I got the gist of it was going on anyway. But I'm just glad to be back to the domestic stuff, John, because it's a long 2 weeks. It really is. I know there's still another 5 or 6 days to go to the Dundee game, so there is still a bit of a wait. But let's get into it then, John. Let's get right into it. We'll start with the competition very quickly first. Get your guess in for the Dundee game, folks. If you're in that 25-player league, get your guess and one guess each in the comment section to get 3 points onto the league table. Good luck with that, everybody. Don't need to say much more about that, apart from welcome to Brian Quayle, our new competition entry. Welcome, Brian. We'll get your guess in for the Dundee game for the weekend. So get your guess in, Brian, and everybody else. But we're still looking for another 2, folks, if you want to get into that league table. Another 2 names. Get it into the comments section. I know the podcasts have been quite everywhere during the international break, so now maybe it's over. We'll get those extra 2 names that we're looking for. So if you're interested, just put your name in the comments and we'll add you to the league table and we'll give you a few free guesses to catch up as well. Right, John, Celtic. Let's get into Celtic. I noticed they were talking on the radio last night, about Kieran Tierney coming on and playing it right back. Now, could this be the answer to Celtic's problem if there is another injury? Because obviously Alistair Johnston is back in training, so he'll be back very soon. But all that time, John, we could have played Kieran Tierney right back, and that would have solved the problems, I think, John, because they're actually available for left back. But does Brendan Rodgers want to tinker with the team in that way, John, playing players out of position? But I don't think it would have done any harm, John, trying Kieran Tierney over at right back for Celtic.
I wouldn't like him in right back. I just don't think he's fit enough to even play left back, let alone right back. I think Ralston would do a better job in there right now, to be honest with you. He is a proper right back. He's fit. And I just don't think Kieran would work on the right. No, well, he's no fit. Well, he's not fit. I don't think there's any point in putting him on the park even. I don't know why played that way a couple of Scotland matches. It was only 15 minutes each match or something, but he's no fit. He shouldn't be playing just now, I don't think. And you've got young Donovan as well to play on the right. But I don't think it would have made any difference with Kieran Tierney on the right-hand side, Xander. I think it would have made us weaker.
Yeah, possibly, John, possibly. But, if he done an okay job, apparently, but I didn't watch it, so I don't know how well he did. And he isn't fit, John, you're right, because he's only getting those 10 minutes, as you say, for Scotland as well. So he's getting 60 minutes for Celtic and 10 minutes for Scotland. A fit Kieran Tierney would be playing from the start in every single game. So, yeah, we've went over that plenty of times, John, but it's maybe one to look at in the future if we do get, Alistair Johnston. He's picked up a few injuries, hasn't he? A few long-term injuries, actually, Alistair Johnston. So if it happens again and Kieran is fit, then I think that's a possibility, John. But no while he's injured, as you say. Okay, let's move on. As I say, there's not much to go through. There's nothing much happening at Celtic at all, really. And that can only be expected during an international break. But we'll go through the snippets anyway. Today, John, he looks as though he is absolutely fine. The left winger looks as though he picked up that knock. He didn't play the game, which is a bonus. And he's back at Celtic for the first day training, John. So, Tenete, he's okay, John. He looks okay, and Dyson as well. That foot injury, I've not saw any news regarding that since we heard the other day about it, so no update on that. But I think Dyson will be okay as well, John. So both our injury concerns, Dyson Mida and Sebastian, look as though they're going to be absolutely fine for the Dundee game this weekend.
I hope so. Two of our top players. Tenecte's he's had his wee moments with bad spells as well, and he try to break down these defenders, the low block, 11 men behind the ball. I've seen Tenecte struggle in a couple of the games, you know what I mean? So it's no his fault that he's up against 3 defenders at a time. It's an impossible task sometimes, isn't it? But when he's offered space in the bigger matches, like games against Rangers and that, I think he'll be absolutely fine. I think he's ideal for Celtic. I say that about Nygren as well. He's had his struggles recently. I think the whole team's had their wee struggles, haven't they? But once his problems with the board and the fans is ironed out, everybody knows where they stand. Happy times ahead.
Yeah, we'll touch on let's talk about happy times, and we will touch on the Rangers stuff. We will do that. Don't worry about that. I've never laughed so much in years. Anyway, yeah, that's right, John. I think Tenete, he's very direct and he's a smashing wee player. Actually, I just love the way he's no fear, John. He just tries to go forward as much as he possibly can, inside, outside, crosses into the box. I think he's a brilliant wee player and he's going to do fantastic for us. But the whole team sort of struggled against Motherwell and a couple of games before that, John. But we're still in a fantastic place. I know we're not sitting top of the league, but hopefully that will change this weekend. All right, moving on. Just one more wee bit of Celtic news, really, John. There isn't, as I say, very quiet just now. But the other bit of news is the BBC have come out about a couple of hours ago, actually, not long ago. Celtic are exploring signing another goalkeeper, John. So I don't know where they get their stories from, but Celtic are looking at signing another goalkeeper in January, and Angus Gunn is interested. He's actually came out and said that he's interested in signing for Celtic. You know, he wants to sign for Celtic, he's saying, because he's not getting a game at Nottingham Forest, so he's been dropped down the pecking order down there. And I know Angus Gunn pulled pulled off that fantastic save, didn't he, for Scotland? But is he good enough for Celtic, do you think, John?
I don't know. I mean, I watched the Scotland games. He's rarely tested, to be honest with you. You know, a good solid test. I mean, he did pull off a great save against Greece, and then Scotland went up apart and scored their third goal. So that could have been 2 each, and that was a world-class save. But I think we've got good keepers at Celtic. I don't think we really need them. We've got, obviously, Sinisalo, who I think is the best keeper at Celtic, and he's not getting a game. What chance has Angus Young got? Angus Young, that's a AC/DC in it. Angus Gunn.
That's him being called Young, Dunn and Gunn. Aye, so, John, you're right. But you're going to remember it as well. We didn't replace Bain, did we? We had Sinisalo and Bain there at one point. So you do need those 3 goalkeepers, John. We do only have the 2 at the moment. I think he would be a tremendous backup, to be honest with you. But who knows, John? Yeah, the guy has came out and said that he would love to sign for Celtic. So that's a good thing, I suppose. He is in the Scotland international team as well, John, so he can't be that bad, I suppose. And it's just one the board are looking at anyway, John. I'm not saying the board are looking at, or the manager, sorry, is looking at Angus Gunn, John, but apparently they are looking at another goalkeeper. So we'll keep a wee eye on that one, John. Angus Gunn, Angus Dunn, and Angus. Who did you call him, John?
I called him the guy out of AC/DC, Angus Young.
Right.
Scottish, by the way. Do you know they're Scottish? I mean, everybody claims them as Australian, but the gun, I'm calling Angus Young Gun now. Angus Young and his brother moved to Australia when they were young. I think maybe 12 years old or something like that. Really young. And they're actually from Cranhill in Glasgow.
There you go. It's every day's a learning day on this channel, isn't it, John?
Aye, and they're also blue noses.
Are they? Aye, well, there you go. More news. So they'll not be happy just now, will they? And talking about that, John, you've just lined that up perfectly. Let's get into the other stuff that's happening, John, because we do talk about the SPL teams, not just Rangers, not just Celtic, not just Aberdeen. We talk about all the teams. But for this moment, we're going to talk about the Rangers, John. It's Steven Gerrard. We did say on the last podcast that Rangers are probably more likely to look at Rowe, the manager Rowe, John. So that seems to be the hot favourite just now, because Stevie G, Slippy G, whatever you want to call him, has turned them down, John. But I had a laughs about it. That was a couple of days ago now. It's still quite funny. Rangers fans are absolutely raging with it. You know, you said in the last podcast also, John, that the Rangers fans, when they left the last time, said if you come back anywhere near Glasgow, you'll have us to face, John. So they're saying the exact same thing again. They're not happy, John, are they? The teddy bears are very angry at the moment.
I don't know. I've not read any stuff about the Rangers at all. But look, any manager in their right mind would look at what happened to Russell Martin, basically getting chased out of the place and threatened and all that stuff. What manager wants to take on that job? It's a poison chalice. Let's be honest. There's no way any manager in their right mind would want to take that job on, unless they're desperate, of course. It's I think it's an act of pure folly taking that job on, Xander. It's poison chalice, and it's somewhere any manager in the right mind would stay well clear of.
Yeah, absolutely, John. Absolutely bang on there, because you look at what happened to Russell Martin having to be escorted out of Falkirk Stadium, John, and they're actually chasing his car as well. Not only did they have to drive away, they're chasing after the car. Bionic men there, catch up with a car, you know, unbelievable. The line across the road, what the heck is that all about? And other managers will obviously be looking. In fact, they're a laughing stock all over the world, John, because I've been reading that all over the world. People are commenting on it. Famous ex-players all commenting on it, you know, disgrace, all that sort of stuff. So who in their right mind would take that job? And I think that's partly the reason that Gerrard has turned that one down, John, to be honest with you. I mean, who would take it after that? Considering where they are in the league, you've got to remember 11 points behind Hearts, 9 points behind Celtic, doing terrible in Europe as well, and the fixture coming up against Celtic in the semi-final of the Cup, John. So who's going to look at that and say, I can turn that around? You know, are they going to get the time to have another season in them, John? Because by the looks of things, you know, they're not going to win the league this year, because, you know, 11 points behind Hearts is a massive gap. You know, the games are now ticking away, John, you've got to remember. So it's unlikely they're going to catch up this season. So are they going to get the time, John, to get his ideas in, you know, settle the team, get them ready for next season? I doubt it very much. And it brings you on nicely as well, John, because the BBC are also claiming that the reason Gerrard refused Rangers is all down to tax issues, John. Tax. We've heard this before, Rangers and tax, eh? So the sort of refused to pay the tax for Gerrard coming, John. They're refusing to pay the tax liability for Gerrard. There's absolutely no surprise there, if indeed that is true, John, is there?
No, that's no surprise when it comes to taxing them. I don't know what the reasons are. I've not even read into it. All I know is he ain't signing for them as manager. I suppose the best bet right now is to go for wee Square Ball Barry. And by the way, they went on and on for years about Celtic fans slapping the team bus, a few Celtic fans. But they've got to go the extra mile, haven't they, with their behaviour about Russell Martin. Don't have a go at the Celtic fans when you're 100 times worse yourself.
Yeah. I mean, I have no stopped laughing for 3 days, John. Honestly, the video I put on with Steven Gerrard with the Celtic top on, sitting at 600,000 views, John. That's just remarkable for a wee channel like us. But the wee videos do help us out. You know, the subs have went away up on YouTube and Facebook. It does help us out, so that's why we do it. But and not one comment from a Rangers supporter, not one. So there you go. So that just tells you what they think. Normally you get one or two wee cheeky ones, but no, not one. And John, you touched on Barry Ferguson there, Square Ball Barry. Does that mean that Dodds and McGregor and whoever else has got a job on the BBC, Neil McCann, are they going to leave the BBC again? Are they going to leave, John, and then after 3 months get another job back with the BBC again? It must be quite good to have that sort of flexibility with your employer.
Aye, that's what will happen. I don't think that's going to be the case anyway, but it's quite funny to think about it. Look, it could happen. They could say, look, we Square Ball done us a great job the last time, only something like the 7 or 8 defeats. I don't know if that'll be the case. I don't think he'll come back. But look, it's not impossible. He could come back. They could look at it and say he got more out of the players than Russell Martin ever did, I think, to be honest with you. And all his cohorts, your Alan McGregors and your Neil McCanns and your probably guys like Alec Ray and all that stuff. But get all them on the bench and all. Get them on there. Could do something to cheer us up.
Yeah, get them on the bench, John, because at least it'll take them off the radio, because it's torture listening to them, to be honest with you, especially that Billy Dodds. I can't stand the sound of that boy, to be honest with you. I know I don't sound great, but you know, he gets paid for it, we don't. So, right, John. In fact, you're touching on Ferguson there, John. Let's look at some of the other managers that we could be possibly up against as Celtic. You know, Celtic are up against Rangers, so we need to talk about their manager. Graham Potter has already, John, ruled himself out of the Rangers job, so that's him out. Graham Potter. Gary O'Neill, he's also ruled himself out, so that's him out as well. So they're getting desperate. John Ferguson might have a wee chance, John. You never know. And Matt Windy Cleaner's retiring, John, and he's a Rangers supporter, so maybe he's got a wee chance as well.
I don't know what your Windy Cleaner's credentials are for managing football teams, but I'm sure he'd do a better job than Russell Martin. Like, sorry, I'm no joking about Russell Martin, by the way. What happened to that guy was a disgrace. I don't know who would be a good candidate for them. Maybe look at somebody like Stephen Robinson or something like that. Good manager at St Mirren, but why would he want to take it on? He'd get the same behaviour as the same treatment, as what Russell Martin received, I would imagine, after a few losses.
Yeah, that's it, John. It's the exact same. And your man Rowe is the hot favourite. He's 45 favourite to take the job on. And if he knocks it back, John, then who knows where they're going to turn to, because wee Bazza, he's got the phone right beside him and his bed, isn't he? So he's waiting on that phone ringing, John, to get that phone call. And Derek McInnes, John, there's been no link at all to McInnes taking that job. Not that I've saw anyway. and I don't think McInnes would take it anyway, to be honest with you. But, you know, I thought the press would have been all over that. You know, we'll talk about that in a wee minute as well, John, the press. But I thought it would have been all over McInnes, you know, clamouring for him to take the Rangers job.
Aye, I know he knocked him back before, and if he's in the right state of mind, he'll knock them back again. I don't think Derek McInnes would touch it.
No, definitely not. There's no, his name's not been mentioned, John, but that goes for nothing, you know. Anything can come out the woodwork, I suppose. And I wanted to have a wee quick word on the press, John. Now, this is the Scottish professional press. We're no professional press. We're allowed to make mistakes, right? But the Scottish professional press must be totally and utterly embarrassed with themselves. They probably know, but they should be, John. They should be embarrassed with themselves, with the overexcitement, the over feeling of joy that Gerrard got to Rangers, John. And we did say in the last podcast, you got to bear in mind, Scottish press, that he's no signed for Rangers yet. We did say that, John. I can play it back if you want. We did say it. He's not even signed for them, and look at the way they're acting. Now, these guys and women on the Scottish press, John, and there is women as well, overexcitement, overjoyed, headlines, massive headlines about what he's going to do, John. These people should be embarrassed with themselves.
I don't read the press, as you know. So you read all that stuff. I get my news off of you, so I don't know, but I've seen it in the past. I've definitely seen it in the past, and I've heard it on the radio when I decide to listen once every year to BBC. But they shouldn't be counting their chickens before they've hatched, basically, if that's the case.
Yeah, it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. It really is. Listening to all these people on the radio, the headlines on your online newspapers, John, the Record, the Sun, the Independent, you know, Sky Sports as well, John. They were, you know, loving it. Chris Boyd, over exuberant. The thought of Steven Gerrard, the COVID Cup winner, John, the empty stadium trophy. That was all he ever won. And the excitement, it was unbelievable. All right, John, that's that. I did notice as well, John, just before we leave this subject, because, you know, I couldn't care less who gets the manager's job over there, to be honest with you. It's just brilliant having a laugh about everything that's happening. But I did notice that the fans are now turning on their brand spanking new US of A board, John. The owners of Rangers, their new boards. I've not seen one single American flag in the last 3 or 4 weeks, not one, you know. So they're turning on the board as well, John. The fans are not liking the new owner's strategy. Now, we're Celtic fans, John, right? I'm a Celtic fan. You're a Celtic fan. Everybody that's listening to this mostly are Celtic fans. We mentioned in the last podcast, John, when they first came in, the new owners, that they were a profit-making organisation. They went down to Leeds, they sold all of the top assets and banked every single penny and gave the club a pittance to spend, John. And look at Leeds now as well, doing dreadful. But, John, we did mention it. We did warn them, let's say that, John. We did warn the Rangers supporters that that's the kind of people that went into their club. And that's them just catching on now, John. That's them after, I don't know how long they've been there now, since the summer, isn't it? 2 or 3 months. And they're now showing their dislike to the board.
I don't know if they're showing dislike to the board because I've not been watching any of that stuff. I think I'll start watching this stuff, but I just don't have any interest in watching it. I get my news off of you. But sometimes I do. I read the Celtic news, obviously, but I'm not interested in what other clubs are doing. But going back to what you say is about when the 49ers were first linked with Rangers, if you like, we were talking about what they actually done at Leeds. And Rangers fans, that they're not going to listen to that. I mean, I remember the frenzy when it was, you know, they were in talks with Rangers. I remember the frenzy about it in Radio Clyde. Oh, they were all loving it. They couldn't, what this is going to happen. The fans were phoning in, Rangers fans, and the guys on Radio Clyde are getting excited. Oh, tell me more, I'm getting excited. No, I remember it. But look at the state of them now. No saying we're prophets, but they were warned.
Yeah, we're no prophets, John. We just done our homework. That anybody with a set of eyes could have done their homework, John. And it's so far. I mean, so far, it's that's exactly the way it's turning out over there. But that's enough, John. We've given them a good 10 minutes there because we wanted to talk about the videos we've put on and the situation that Brendan Rodgers is going to be up against, John. So we can talk about it. It's not a problem. We can talk about other clubs. We do talk about other SPL clubs as well, but there's nothing much else happening at the other clubs, John. And the international stuff, so you just quickly mentioned that a wee bit there, John, about the international stuff. Let's have a wee word on Scotland. And quickly before we do that, Celtic 7, Motherwell 1. That was the Celtic ladies yesterday. Good result for the Celtic ladies. Celtic 7, Motherwell 1. So well done, the Celtic ladies. Scotland, John, the 2 games, 6 points. Brilliant. 6 points in the bag. But there's a lot of unhappy supporters out there not happy with Scotland. So I don't get it, John, right? Because what I remember when I was watching Scotland, and you're talking about 20 years ago, right up to about 10 years ago possibly, and I do follow Scotland, I do follow their results, etc., because I want them to do well. I want us to do well as Scotland. But all I remember is Scotland, playing various Diddy teams and couldn't beat them, John, never making any tournaments. And you know the story, you know exactly what happened with Scotland, right? And I think we've already made the playoffs for the World Cup, John. I think that's already guaranteed. And then we're 2 wins away from actually qualifying for the World Cup in America next year, John. I mean, we were never anywhere near this sort of stuff. I just don't get it. Whether Scotland are playing badly or not, if you get the 3 points and you win the game, that's all that matters to me.
Aye, it's just the manner of the game, right enough. The players looked, I know they'd only played a game 2 days before that, but so did Belarus. It's just that the Scottish players looked 5 yards off the pace, and that's no exaggeration. They were miles off Belarus. For what I watched, they were miles off Belarus. And I can understand the frustration, but like he says, they won the game. That's all that matters. The 3 points are on the board. I've got 6 points out of the last 2 games. I've got 10 points out of 4 games. They haven't been beat yet. But they've already qualified for the playoffs. They're already in there. So that's good.
Yeah.
But the next games are tough games. They need to go to Greece, try and get a result, and then we've got the final game is Denmark at Hampden Park. So anything can happen. Look, I know it's no until November, but anything can happen. The Scottish boys could look at that performance and say, we need to do better, like they did in the second half against Greece, or the last half hour anyway. They looked like they had to do something against Greece, and they found it from somewhere. Brilliant energy. But against Belarus, it was a totally different story. But I think I can't see Scotland winning the group, to be honest with you. I think Greece will take points after Scotland in Greece. I think Greece will beat Scotland there. Norway's going to beat Belarus. So I'm afraid for Scotland, it's going to be a playoff spot at best.
Yeah. Well, we'll wait and see, John. There's a couple of very tough games coming up for Scotland. And by the way, you're going to be lacklustre when you play players like Kenny McLean. You know, that's going to happen. You know, why is that guy getting a game for Scotland? I will never know. Anyway, John, well done to Scotland anyway. And Stevie Clark especially. What a hard time that guy's getting. I mean, I know you don't read all this stuff, right, John, but I do. And that guy is getting a heck of a time after 2 wins. 2 games in international break, John, and 2 wins. You can't ask for better than that. I don't care if he played terrible, John, and it was boring or whatever, you know, that's that kind of stuff. For me, 6 points is 6 points. You take it and you move on to the next game. And I put the radio on this morning and I heard the BBC talking about, they had a wee special on it actually. The next Scotland manager is Stevie Clark, needs to walk away. He's had his time. This is a guy that's took us to 2 European Championships, John. He's taken us to 2. major competitions, and he's just one step away from taking us to World Cup. For me, again, I'll repeat myself, I just don't get it.
Has it took us to two? Is it not just one? I think it's just one, Xander. I think it's just one. The Euros a few years ago. I don't think he's took us to two, but look, he's on the verge of taking us to two. The World Cup it's a hard thing to qualify for, and you look at the group Scotland go. It's one of the toughest groups there. I was looking at England's group. It's like, what is this? They've been drawn against Andorra and all that garbage. Honestly, the group they got is unbelievably easy. But they've got 5 teams in the group. Scotland's only got 4 teams in the group. But I'm sure it's only the one Euros. It could be 2, I can't remember. But from top of my head, it's just the one.
Yeah, I mean, you were talking about England there, John. I was actually going to have a wee word about that since we're on the international scene just now. What I would do with England, right, is just put them into the World Cup. They don't need to qualify because there is absolutely no point. It's just wasting people's time, and there's players could get injured with these games for England. Not that I care about England, right? I don't care about them, but you know, as you say, teams like Andorra, Latvia, you know, just put them into the World Cup. Just save money, save fans travelling, all that kind of stuff, John. Save people a fortune, and just put them directly into the World Cup, John.
It pays well going in because they haven't got anybody in the group. Difficult. Let's say the group I've got, Xander, I've got it here. England sitting at the top on 15 points, played 5 games, haven't even conceded a goal. The group is Albania, Serbia, Latvia, and Andorra. What kind of group is that? What kind of nonsense is that to put a team into? Where's the challenge there?
Yeah. That's bad, Sean. That's bad. Just put them directly in. You know, see all these multi-million-pound nations, just put them directly in. Don't need to qualify and just let everybody else qualify, especially England, John, because they always seem to get. I mean, the teams you read out there, I mean, that's just put them in. Anyway, John, that's no point going on about it anymore. Just put them into the World Cup, and then they'll play some half-decent teams, John, and that's when they will struggle.
I just don't see the point. I agree with you. I just don't see the point in England ever having to qualify because I just read out the teams. I'll read that out again for anybody that missed it. Albania, Serbia, Latvia and Andorra. It's ridiculous. What's the point? That there's absolutely no competition there whatsoever. That's
bad. That is embarrassingly bad. That is pathetically bad. I mean, where is this? You know, there should be at least a couple of similar sort of level teams in your group. I mean, you look at Scotland, Denmark, Greece, or whoever else, John. It's all sort of they're better teams in Scotland, but they're all sort of teams that we could possibly beat. But England, you know, dear, UEFA, you should really have FIFA, sorry, whoever it is that runs it, I think it's UEFA, into it. They should have a really, really close look at that. That's a nonsense.
Every team's got a decent team to give them competition at the top. Like Italy's got Norway. Norway are flying high at the top. And Israel, half decent team as well, Israel. Everybody's got a decent team. Holland, they've got Poland and Finland there, you know, teams like that. Mm-hmm. But England's the only team that's got probably every diddy team on the planet in their group.
There you go, John. Pathetic, honestly. And by the way, John, it's 2020 and 2024 he took Scotland to. So, you know, the guy's getting a rough time for me for absolutely no reason. I mean, how many years before that was it we qualified? 1998, the World Cup, was it, John? Something like that, you know. So 1998 to 2020, 22 years without a single competition for Scotland, and they're treating the guy like that. You know, these Scotland fans should have a right good close look at themselves, John. I know the fans, although they were booing, but know the fans, but the press, Scottish press, John, to me, that's pathetic.
I don't remember Scotland being in two, but then again, if I haven't always watched Scotland, so you could be right. Maybe I just never watched Scotland at that time. There is occasions where I gaff Scotland for years. I don't even listen to it or anything. So You could be right, Sander. I really don't know. But anyway, just all these teams that England are playing, it just makes you sick. You start to think, is this a fixed draw or something? Why are they getting drawn against teams like this? Not one half decent team in a group, not one. All the diddies that even Scotland could win that group, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I think most semi-decent teams could win that group, John, and they give it to the richest nation in the world as regards to funds being spent in their countries, John. England is obviously spends the most money in the whole world. Anyway, John, we'll park that there. That's enough for the international stuff. But that is laughable. Absolutely laughable, the teams you just read out there. Get them into the World Cup direct and save people money. Right, John. Are we midweek predictor? There's no much in it, I'm afraid. 3 or 4 games, just things that I picked out the air, really, for the midweek predictor. We'll do the results on that on Friday. We didn't get any right this weekend, John, so no predictions right this weekend for both of us, and nobody got the correct score for the Celtic B. East Fife against Celtic B, it was East Fife 5, Celtic B 3. I mean, you can understand why nobody got that, John. An absolutely cricket score, that one. So get your guesses in for the Dundee game, everybody. And we'll see if anybody can get some points on the board, John, because it's been a wee while since anybody's got some points on the board. But the midweek predictor, let's get into it then, John. Celtic B again, I'm afraid. Celtic B against Linlithgow. That's tomorrow night. Just spur of the moment thing, John. What do you think?
3-1 Celtic B.
Okay, 3-1. And I'll say 2-1 to Linlithgow, John, because I think the B teams are not doing too well just now. Okay, moving on. Lenny Watch. Didn't do a Lenny Watch because the game's getting played tonight. So that's Dunfermline against Wraith Rovers, John. Len, I don't know how he's doing just now. I know he was on a downward spiral, but it's at home. It's at East End Park, John. So Dunfermline against Wraith Rovers.
Well, Wraith Rovers are a decent team. I like their wee stadium and that as well. I don't know. I'm just checking the table now to see where they are before I give a prediction.
Yeah.
So you've got Wraith Rovers sitting in 5th and Lenny's sitting in 7th. On 10 points. Played 9 games, he's only got 10 points, Lenny, by the way. And Wraith Rovers aren't much better. They've played 1 game more and they've got 10 points. I'm going to go for a draw. I'm going to go for 1 each.
Okay, John. Fair play. Just taking a wee note of these in my new diary, folks. I'll say 2-1 to Dunfermline, John. Okay. Right, that's that out the road. Let's get a couple of internationals flung in for good measure. Just to make up the numbers, John, a couple of wee internationals that don't involve Celtic, but there is a wee link there, I suppose. We've got Sweden and Nygren up against Kosovo, John. Hopefully Nygren can get himself a wee goal against Kosovo, boost his confidence a wee bit. But Sweden against Kosovo anyway, John.
I've no idea. 3-0 Sweden.
It's going to be a high one, isn't it? 4-1 to Sweden. Don't know, John, maybe that's a bit too high. I'm thinking about changing it. No, I'll keep it. Why change it? Still a bit of fun. And then Ireland against Armenia, John. Big Scales, you'll be involved in that one. Big Liam Scales, brilliant big defender. Also Big Eder will still be there as well, won't he? But he's no Celtic related. But what are you thinking anyway, John? Ireland, Armenia.
Ireland are sitting bottom of the group, by the way. But they've only played 3 games and they're sitting on... many points are they on? 1 point. Armenia are sitting right above them. And they're also on... they're on 3 points. I'm going to go for Ireland in this one. I think they're going to change that 1 point to 4 tonight. I'm going to say 2-0 Ireland.
Yeah, the international thing's very tough to predict. I know they're all tough, but 2-1 to Ireland. And last of all, John, we were laughing at them there for 10 minutes, and we're going to bring them into the predictor because we were laughing at them. cricket score material here, John. We're bringing this in for the entertainment values, for the hilarity values. Latvia against England, John. I think they've already qualified, so they might put out a weekend team. Who knows? Who cares? But it's going to be a cricket score, I think. But what are you thinking, John?
Don't know about cricket score right enough, but they don't need to go out and bust a gut. Do take it easy. Nothing to fight for Latvia, I don't think. I'm not really too sure. I'm just checking that. Latvia are sitting second bottom. I'm going to say 4-0 England.
Aye, something like that. 3-0 for me to them. Just taking a wee note of them. All right, John, that wraps up the predictor. That's a good 5 games in anyway. Just we want at least 5 games in each predictor, John, just to make it interesting. If anybody wants to put a wee guess in for the games, put your guess in the comments. But the main one is, for the listeners and the viewers, is the main one on the left-hand side of your screen there. Get your guess in for Dundee at the weekend. Get the guess in nice and early if you want, or if you want to wait till Friday to get your guess in to see if there's any injuries or updates in team news or anything like that, you can wait till Friday, folks. That's not a problem. John, that just wraps it up for us today. Wasn't really much to talk about, but we did get a wee bit out of it. There was a wee bit in the end when we take into account all the other stuff that's going on outside Celtic. John, we're over 40 minutes, so there was a wee bit to go on with there. Welcome to Brian Quayle, as I said earlier, John. Brian Quayle, he's now entered the competition. We're going to drop one out. And we need another 2 into the comments. 2 extra names, 2 extra contestants into the competition, the league competition there, to win the fantastic Celtic prize at the end of the season. If you are top, we'll post it to you free of charge. Full of Celtic goodies. There's a scarf there. Let's go through it, John. There's a scarf there. There's a Celtic Forever lighter, Celtic Forever ballpoint pen. No, remember, this is not a Bic. This is a proper ballpoint pen. 2 Celtic Legends frame prints. 2 Celtic Legends metal wall plaques. There's a Celtic football there. There's some other stuff as well, key rings and stuff like that, John. There's a whole load of Celtic stuff there anyway, John. A prize that every Celtic fan should want to get their hands on, to be honest with you, free of charge if you are top. Right, John, we'll leave it there. It's back to Dundee at the weekend, John. A wee quick minute or 2 on that. We're back to normal football, domestic duty. Dundee, it's going to be tough. We'll do a proper, obviously, preview of that on Friday. And we'll also be back Wednesday as well. We need to find something to talk about for Wednesday. But it's just good, John, that this international break is just about over. And so far, everybody has returned fit and well.
Aye, I saw you can take it an international break. Obviously, it's good that Scotland are doing well. You want to see Scotland doing well. That's always good. We haven't seen Scotland in a World Cup since 1998. That's a long wait. So well done to Stevie Clarke. He doesn't deserve all the flack that he gets. But anyway, Celtic, back to Celtic. Just got to hope things have improved with the team. The performances have got to improve to get anything off of Dundee. I think Celtic, generally speaking, they've been performing okay, just not hitting the net regular. And now they're starting to lose goals. But they've had a couple of weeks to think about it. Let's hope this week's training goes well. The lads are start to realise what it means to pull that jersey on and play for Celtic. And look, Brendan Rodgers should be making sure that going up to Dens Park on Sunday should not be an issue, and they should be drilling out of the players that it should not be an issue. Your Celtic Football Club, go out there and do your job. Bring the title back home. Well, it's already home, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, that's it. Bring the title back home. You're right, John, because it needs to be brought back to paradise this season, and I'm sure it will. Well said, John. And well done to Stevie Clarke as well, John. You're right. You're bang on with that. Well done to him. He's doing a fantastic job at Scotland. It doesn't deserve the flack that he's getting, especially from the press. They should know better. They know that we've struggled for decades trying to get into a major competition. And by the way, we've got to remember Rangers just struggled there a few weeks ago at Dens Park as well. I know we're going between Scotland and Celtic there, but Rangers did struggle there just a couple of weeks ago. So we're looking for obviously the total opposite of that, just to get a good performance and a good result at Dens. But we've got plenty of time to get into that, John, further down the line. We'll catch up with you on Wednesday, buddy.
Catch you Wednesday, Xander. Hail, hail.
Hail, John. Thanks for coming on. Cheers for now.